my name is Jen and I'm one of the counselors at the UCC. This video is a little quick introduction to our stress and coping series. We will discuss some of the relevant issues our student population faces, and this video has two parts, or actually the series has at least two parts for the introduction. The first including a list of different types of stresses and stressors that may impact several of our students' experience and how this has been impacted by COVID-19. The next video is a short discussion of ways to manage the aforementioned stresses. So please bear with me as I try to share some of the information of ways to hopefully increase your ability to manage these stresses in your life. This is a little disclaimer to kind of just remind you about how this can be supplemental information, but not a replacement to mental health support. So something to consider is if you are experiencing a crisis, please look at these resources to contact. But if you are kind of looking at this just for information, please continue with this video. Looking at the topic of this video, some of the overall student stresses correlated to I guess just students' experiences are those negative habits and mental health difficulties. That is, the more negative habits and mental health difficulties one experiences, this is likely related to a higher chance of the different stresses that they experience in their life too. Another thing to think about is that this could be cyclical, and it's difficult to really determine the causal relationship as to which one started first, but they are exacerbated, or they do exacerbate one or each other. And so now I'd like to reiterate what you may already know, and hopefully this could increase your awareness of how you are impacted by COVID-19. And while this is not an exhaustive list, there are a few unique to this pandemic. And for the purposes of time, I will not go into depth for each of the stresses, but I'll describe some of the examples that have been frequent for our students. So remote learning is something new and could be a blessing or a curse to some. Regardless, this is something that requires adjustment and learning the best or worst ways somebody could learn in their own private space. The resulting forced stay-at-home orders also force us to go into the social or physical distancing, and this could contribute to feeling more isolated. So such experiences, really may result into disappointment or grief and changed plans. So this might force us to really accept things that we might not have been prepared to do so. And we could feel super rushed in ways that we have not been able to fully process. So there are also some unique issues certain populations can experience, such as international students, traveling, going back home, or the stresses related to visas may now be precipitated. And for seniors, their application job processes may be frozen, and plans to walk for ceremony are now different because we can't do this typical graduation that most of us have been anticipating. And going forward, there are some emotional responses to consider that may result from the previously mentioned stresses or stressors. If you find yourself feeling, for example, helpless, more hypervigilant, it may be part of a normal or common reaction people are facing during this pandemic. Thinking of some specific stresses related to COVID-19, it is possible that if certain people fall into specific situations, they may experience more of these listed. Some of these could include more interpartner or domestic violence because of the stay-at-home orders. Further, if you are part of a racial or ethnic identity or targeted group populations, you may become more aware of how people in your community are even more targeted or vulnerable during this high anxiety period. So, returning to more of our general student stresses, away from the COVID-19 specific ones, I want to remind you of the four primary categories of stresses. And these are interpersonal, intrapersonal, academic, and environmental. typically the interpersonal and intrapersonal are some of the more common ones that a lot of students experience regarding their higher levels of stress. So with that said, I want to thank you for watching, and to please watch part B on ways to better manage or cope with the different stresses that I mentioned in this video. So thanks again.